Hello, hello, hello to you all viewers. It's a privilege to be on here once again. I trust that your day has been fantastic. Well, as you can see, we are here to discuss a very, very important topic. So, for the benefit of those who are joining us for the first time, I just want to quickly introduce myself to you. My name is Pastor Floris Lyman. Again, I'm a minister in word and song. I am a church show host. As you can see, that's what I'm doing right now. I do events, I facilitate events both online and in person. I am a speaker and author. So, again, if you would like to come on this program, if you're running a course or a charity, or you're doing something fantastic in your communities, please do not hesitate to come on here so that we can let others be aware of what you are doing. Thank you so very much. Thank you. So, we are here, as you can see. Our topic today for us to be discussing is stop enduring abuse. Stop enduring abuse. We have a guest, Lady Grace Ovba, who is a therapist and a transformational coach. But just before I bring her on to introduce herself properly, I want you to share this program. This topic that we are talking about today, a lot of people are affected by it, especially in our own communities, and people are silent, they don't talk about it. A lot of lives have been lost. So we are here not to cast a stone on anyone, but to help as many who find themselves in this situation, both men and women. So, viewers, just relax. You're more than welcome to join us in the conversation, ask questions, put in your comments, and we will try our best to get back to you. Thank you very, very much. So, like I said to you, we have our guest, Lady Grace Ovba. I am going to allow her to introduce herself and to tell us, the viewers, who she is. Thank you very much. Over to you, Lady Grace. Introduce yourself to the viewers. Tell us who you are.
Thank you, Pastor Flores, and thank you to our viewers. Grace helps women escape the trauma of abuse and also assist them to regain a positive mindset so that they can live life on their own terms. I'm a mother of 4 lovely children. I'm the founder of Freedom for Better Life, a psychotherapeutic organization. I'm an author. I'm a psychotherapist. I'm a transformational coach. I'm a mentor, an inspirational speaker, and podcaster. Thank you. Over to you, Pastor Flores.
Thank you very much, Lady Grace, for that introduction. I can see that you are very passionate about this topic. You do a podcast on it. You also advocate against this particular topic. Can you please tell us why?
Yes. What drives my passion about this topic, abuse, is as a result of going through an abusive relationship that almost eroded my self-worth and identity. I felt battered. I felt pain. I felt shame. I was angry. There was a lot of self-guilt and self-blame. And in my quest to heal and get support, I started counseling, which helped me to find ways to heal and rediscover myself. And along the line, I think about 6 to 9 months into my therapeutic sessions, I decided, okay, I'm healing. I need to go for what we call more self-development. So I went for a taster course in a college and also in a university. And the taster course was in psychotherapy. And I actually enjoyed it. I decided that I needed to start my academic pursuit in becoming a psychotherapist, and not just a psychotherapist, a qualified and certified one. This was to help me assist other women who have gone through any form of abuse heal and rediscover themselves using the tools of psychotherapy, forgiveness, and compassionate support. I believe anyone can gain incredible support from therapeutic strategies. And I am passionate in my quest to rebuild lives, as well as making it my life's mission. Thus, I advocate for women to rise above the shadows of abuse, which is aimed at helping people not only to identify signs of abuse, but also to have a healthy relationship with themselves and with others. This was what inspired me to create my podcast, Rising Above Shadows of Abuse. Over to you, Pastor Flores.
Wow, thank you so much. That was so very, very loaded. So, just for the benefit of some of our viewers, maybe someone is out there who does not even know what abuse is. And as a result, they are going through it and they don't really know what it is. So, what is abuse? What do you describe as abuse? And please also tell us the different types of abuse.
For me, an abuse is an action that intentionally causes cruelty, harm, injury, violence, distress, hate, coercive control to another person. You can see I use the word action because abuse is an action word. There are different types of abuse. We have physical abuse, which comprises hitting, punching, kicking, slapping, biting, pushing, hair pulling, rough handling, just to name a few. And then we have what we call domestic violence or domestic abuse. It's also known as intimate partner abuse. It is a pattern of incidents of coercively controlling, degrading, threatening, violent behavior, including sexual violence, experienced mostly by women and perpetrated by men. We also have what we call sexual abuse, which includes rape, attempted rape, sexual assault, inappropriate touch, indecent exposure to sexual acts or content. The other form of abuse is what we call the emotional or psychological abuse. It comprises verbal insults, humiliation, public shaming, threats, bullying, enforced social isolation, whereby you can't see your friends or family members. We also have what we call the financial or economic or material abuse. This is where the abuser commits the theft of money or possession. They also commit what we call fraud. They scam you and they exploit their victims' money or assets, that is property. The other type of abuse is what we call the neglect or act of omission, which is normally experienced by vulnerable people like children, the elderly, and people who are mentally impaired or have mental health issues. And in such cases, they are deprived of their basic needs like food, shelter, clothing. And there is failure by the abuser to provide maybe medical, to make sure they go for medical checkups. And there is an issue with their personal hygiene. For example, a child might not be having their baths maybe for 2-3 days or a week. And the elderly might not be given adequate care, like cleaning them up regularly so that when they soil themselves, they need to be cleaned as much as possible. But the abuser doesn't do that. We also have the last but not the least, modern day slavery or servitude, which includes human trafficking, sexual exploitation like prostitution, forced labor, domestic servitude. That's what we call debt bondage. That is where you're forced to work to pay off a debt, which realistically such persons cannot pay off. So those are the types of abuse.
Wow, thank you so very much just for clarifying all those various types. There's so many of them. So, wow, viewers, just in case you have heard everything we have said, that list was quite a loaded list. So, we don't know what you've experienced among that list. If you've experienced any of that, you need to start reviewing. Sorry, we have to say, but you need to start reviewing because it's likely a lot of us are going through this and we are not paying attention. We don't even know that we are going through it, so we have to be aware. That's the first point of call. Lady Grace, I know you yourself have been a survivor, and that's why you are advocating. So, what type of abuse have you survived? If you don't mind letting the viewers know, and the reason why I'm asking that, so that those who are in that kind of abusive relationship, they need to know how they can tell when they are in that relationship, what are the signs to look for. Over to you.
Okay. Like I said, I experienced domestic abuse or domestic violence, and also what we call emotional abuse. I also experienced what we call financial abuse. I was working, but most of the time I was using my salary to pay some of the bills, buy the food, and do other things because I was earning more than my ex-husband. So I did most of the things, so to speak. And the second question you asked me was, what are the signs to look out for? Am I right? Okay. The signs to look out for are injuries and excuses. In some cases, you have bruises and injury, which may occur frequently in obvious places like your face. You might have a black eye. You might have swelling on your neck, maybe bite marks. You might also have scars on your legs or your arms. This is perpetrated by the abuser, and the intent is for the victim to be isolated. Not only isolated, but trapped at home. Because as a result of this, you might not want to go to work. And if you have to go to work, you'll be feeling embarrassed because people definitely be asking you, what happened to you? Why do you have all these bruises? And what happens? You now start giving excuses. Oh, I was clumsy. I fell on the kitchen floor because there was a bit of water. I slipped. That's an excuse, but that's not really the reality of what happened to you. You could also say things along the line of, oh, I slipped in the bathroom. I was quite lucky. I didn't, I just had bruises. I didn't hit my head on the panel or things like that. And this is a tactic that the abuser uses so that it prevents the victim from reaching out for help, not only for reaching out for help, but also that you don't expose the violence you're undergoing or you're going through. And in some cases as well, some of the bruises or scars that you might have might not be visible to other people. So you find out that victims wear maybe a long-necked top or dress. And then if they were used to wearing minis, they will end up wearing longer dresses just to cover the scars so that people don't start asking questions. Then in terms of absences, if the lady is a working class person, there will be absences from work, such as taking time off from normal schedule, which they normally shouldn't have. And then they might go to work late. Why do they go to work late? Maybe in the morning, there was an altercation between them and the abuser. So they have to deal with that first before going to work. It happened to me, so I'm talking from experience. And if that's not the case, maybe the abuser was meant to drop the children at school and he decides for some strange reasons he's not doing it. Then you have to do it. You have to step in and take your children to school. So, and furthermore, I think that's what we call personality changes. An outgoing person who is quite bubbly and cheerful becomes withdrawn. They become shy. They become quiet around their partners and others. And the victim seems to be walking on eggshells.
Right, thank you so much, viewers. Whilst we're waiting, I think we have some internet hiccups. As you know, we don't have no control over what technology brings, but we will finish this conversation. Lady Grace, you can come back in. Yes, some of the things she has just mentioned, viewers, just waiting just for her to come back in. Some of the things she has mentioned, that's a question for all of us to observe ourselves right now. Are you in a place? Are you in a safe place? Are you in a relationship right now where maybe you've been beaten as we speak, maybe even just not long ago? You have marks on your body. You're covering yourself, and you're also covering the perpetrator. And we're speaking to both men and women who might find themselves in this situation. Um, what are you doing about it? Are you enduring it on your own? Have you spoken to anybody about it? Um, this is why we are here today, to encourage you, to do something, about it. So she has given us a huge list, and now she's explaining to us how can you identify if you are in such relationship. Yeah, Lady Grace, over to you from where you took off from.
So sorry about this. I don't know what's going on. The connection, we lost a bit of connection. So, like I was saying earlier on, victims experience low self-esteem. This is as a result of being traumatized. There's the feeling of powerlessness. There's a feeling of powerlessness, hopelessness. And then, like I said, personality changes. If, for example, someone is quite bubbly, all of a sudden you find out that the person is no longer outgoing, they run, they feel shy, they are very quiet around their partners and others, not just around their partners and others, even their co-workers. And they seem to be walking on eggshells most of the time because they are afraid. Then we have fear of conflicts. The victim tries to avoid conflict at all costs with friends, family, neighbors, the abuser, and whoever they come in contact with.
Yeah, so she's still citing some of the experiences that anybody that's going through abuse that might experience. If you are in that place where you are isolating yourself, you don't want to even talk about the situation, you're covering up yourself, you've been battered, you've been bruised. And we're talking about both men and women because I know the percentage um, is more on the side of the women, but there are men who are going through abuse from women as well. So our duty here today is to encourage you to step out, to help yourself, and also to seek help. That's why we are here today. Really, just to create that awareness for us all, anyone that is finding themselves in that situation. What about your bubbly self? Have you noticed that all of a sudden your bubbly self has just diminished, as if someone stole your joy? Are you isolating yourself? Are you taking, if you're at work, are you taking so many excuses at work? You need to be observant of how you feel. So, it's a time of reflection. Or maybe your friend, you've noticed that your friend is going through such. What have you done to help the friend? Even if it feels like the friend is in denial, because it's easy, especially for us as women. We can put up our makeup, you come and somebody is asking you, how are you doing? And you go, it's fine, everything is fine, I'm great. That's a good question, Lady Naomi, and we'll keep that question. Once she comes back, we will ask her what makes people to be abusive. That's a very good question. There are factors responsible. We'll wait for her to come in. I think she's back.
I'm so sorry.
Do not worry about it. The enemy just knows what we are talking about, so hence the disruption. Over to you. Continue.
Thank you. Thank you. So, like I said, personality changes. An outgoing person becomes quiet, she becomes shy around people. her partners, the victim seems to be walking on eggshells most of the time. So there is fear of conflict. Such people will avoid conflicts with friends, with co-workers, with neighbors, with family members, and especially the abuser. Take, for example, if they want something, or somebody asks them for a favor and something they don't normally do, they wouldn't challenge it. Why? Because they're trying to avoid conflict at all costs. It also shows they cannot assert their needs and desires. It makes them anxious. The victims exhibit overly friendly behavior, particularly to those perceived to be in a position of power. They are also very passive aggressive in behavior. The victim might not have the ability to identify their feelings and wants, and in expressing them, they might find it difficult. So to them, it might not exist.
There is a question, Lady Grace. Just hold on, because I was gonna say something that you've touched on quite a few things, but there is a question. Someone is asking, what makes people to be abusive? What are some of the factors that might be responsible for the perpetrator?
Yes, and some people might have been um, living or being brought up in an abusive pattern. There's a cycle. That's what they've ever experienced. They don't know any differently. And it might be also due to mental health as well. Take, for example, a man who loses his source of income. He might become violent. That's his way of projecting his frustration on his partner or those around him.
Wow. What about the woman? Just so that we are balanced. If what can we factor in for the woman? What can cause a woman to, again? I believe the first point you raise is either they have been through abuse as well. Yeah. What are the factors?
For women, there are lots of things involved in them staying in an abusive relationship. It might be to be a savior, that, oh, my husband has gone through, he's an abusive man, but if I show him more love, he will change. Not only that, I can fix him
You've
by being
actually just gone into the question, Seth. You are flowing. You are flowing because just add this there to your answer. Should abuse be endured? You just started giving the answers as if you knew that's what I was gonna say. What keeps the victim in the abuse? You've just started. Is it family stigma? Is it because they've invested in the relationship? Is it for prestige? Over to you. Thank you. We are having issues, but I believe we will finish this today. She was actually just beginning to touch on my next question. That I was asking her, why do we endure? Why are we enduring abuse? Why are you still enduring the abusive relationship? Is it because your family, they're putting pressure on you to stay there? Just stay, just be patient, just endure it. Is it maybe, for example, you might be in your religious association or organization that your leaders or your elders are telling you, oh, just pray about it, especially for those of us who are Christians. To what At what point will you stop praying and take action or seek help or go to a safe place? Why are you there? What is still keeping you in there? For us women might say, oh, because of the children that I already have with this person. Vice versa. Even some men will say, oh, because I'm there for, you know, my children. I'm there for this. I'm there for the investment. Over to you, Lady Grace.
Yes. So what also keeps people in an abusive relationship has to do with the fact that they're afraid. It's primarily fear that the abuser might threaten their loved ones. So in order to protect their loved ones, they stay in the abusive relationship. Family expectations. For example, you might come from a family whereby nobody has ever been divorced. You might say, oh, I want to remain a missus because nobody has ever been divorced in my family line. So in order to keep up the pretense, you rather stay in the abusive relationship because you don't want any of your family members, extended family members, telling you of, especially when it comes to African culture and Asian culture, that is the BAME society. There are rigid customs and traditions that some family members follow. And the abuser might also want to avoid stigmatization. Like, what will people say? What will my friends say? Then lack of financial resources. If the victim is solely dependent for her subsistence on the abuser, it's going to be difficult for her to move because she might not necessarily be working.
Very true.
And then putting the welfare of her children first before her own needs. She might say, okay, I want my children to have a father figure. She might say, I want my children to have a father figure, and so decide to stay in the abusive relationship. There is also damaged self-worth, which I did talk about, that my self-worth was almost eroded, until I went for counseling to rebuild it. Yeah, so damaged self-worth due to degrading treatment. Many women feel beaten down. They don't have any value for themselves. They feel worthless. They feel traumatized. And so they might say, well, what can I do? Nobody, would want me because of what I've gone through. And so they decide to stay.
I want to ask a question. You know, having gone through that, and again, once you've answered this, we can, you can answer on behalf of those who are in that situation. When did you decide that it was enough? When did you decide to call for help? When did you decide to speak out? And this is an advice as well for anyone that find themselves in this situation. At what point should people victims just decide to? At what point should they get up? Because
Yeah.
somebody might have been enjoying it. You endured it for such a while.
Yes. At what point? Okay, for me, let me use myself as an example. I was enduring it because of my children, because I had 4 children. And I felt, okay, I could endure it. But I think that was a turning point. The beating was getting severe. And I knew definitely if I didn't leave, it could lead to my death. And it was affecting me mentally, my mental health. I wasn't sleeping well. I wasn't as bubbly as I used to be. So I needed help. I knew I needed help. So I know it's not so easy to decide to leave because it can be overwhelming for the victim.
Yeah.
And once the abuser realizes you're going to leave, it might be unsafe for you and the children as well. So many people can help you think about options, that is, options to living safely, so to speak. And then you can put in your needs and make informed choices. I'm reiterating the word informed choices. I always advise people to leave earlier. The better you leave earlier, especially if there's threat to life, the safer it is for you. And sometimes people don't leave because of what we call trauma bond.
Right. Ooh, it's getting better. Lady Grace, you can join us back in quickly. It's just getting better. Thank you. Thank you for your comments in the comment section. Um, Again, I am the mouthpiece today for anyone. Thank you. Prophetess Jane. She said trauma bond and shine syndrome is so bad. Yeah, yeah. She was just about to touch on that. Whatever is stopping you from moving, like I said, it might be anything. You can still say you're praying for us. For us, if you're a person of faith, you're praying. Or your friends have said, or you are looking at the stigma, you're looking at your own charisma, you're looking. Don't die in there. You need to look for a safe place. I know when she comes on, she was just about telling us the amount of help that is available, professional help. You seek the best possible help that you need to help you to reconstruct yourself again, because sometimes a lot of damage will have taken place, sometimes physically, emotionally, like she was saying, financially. The more you are unable to live fast, yeah, and just seek that help that's going to transform your life again, um the lesser things are going to change around you, and your life is precious. We are here to say your life is precious. She had to live with 4 children, and we are saying this, maybe you are a man that is going through the abuse of a woman. That's not the plan. We find ourselves in the situation sometimes because nobody goes into relationships and expecting things to turn out like this. You know. Thank you, Lady Jane. You say Sharon syndrome. So please, if you find yourself in this situation, there are helplines. Type, go to your GP, go to places where you can seek refuge. And, there is a way you can still, even your perpetrator can seek help if he still wants to change or she wants to change. Oh, over to you. We have to get this done.
Yes. So the form I was talking about trauma bonding. That's feeling tied to your partner and unable to break away. It's an emotional attachment. It's a cycle. It's an emotional attachment developed out of a repeated cycle of abuse, devaluation, and positive reinforcement. Take, for example, after the abuse, the abuser might come round and say, "Oh, I'm sorry for what I did," and buy you gifts, and loving, caring,
To keep
and
you
things
in
like this,
again.
just to keep you in that vicious cycle. And often, because you are being manipulated, it does succeed. And sometimes you find biological processes like flight, fight, freezing, or fawning. you might frown in the sense that, okay, let me just comply. I'm using this a fawning face now. Let me just comply. When I comply, maybe the abuse will decrease, and so it's actually a vicious cycle.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Just so that our internet is not being disrupted. Let's get through this quickly. But so you started talking about where people can seek help. If you're a victim of any of these that we have mentioned, if you've been seeing the signs and you're not saying anything, at least you can ask questions for your own peace of mind. You said something, and I saw, Lady OBA, they are saying, it might look like it's a normal thing as a woman, to just pay the bills. You be using all your own money. Every day the man say, I don't have, or vice versa, the woman said, I don't have. That so it means that some abuse can be passive.
Yes.
Because it does not look like, it just feels like, oh, it's a normal thing that I'm just doing, so it's okay. Meanwhile, the person will be using their own money to be building how many houses there for other people that you don't know. By the time you realize, all your savings, everything is gone. It's so the passive one is as scary as the active abuse.
Actually, it did happen to me. We built a house. Part of my money was in the building of the house as well. But unfortunately, or will I say, yeah, it's unfortunate. I never lived in that house one day. Another woman moved into the house, depriving me, not necessarily me, but my children, of living in the house their parents built.
What will you have preferred if you were still there by now fighting for that property? Do you think you would have been alive by now?
I don't think so. So that was why I hands off. Once there is life, there is hope.
That's it. Once there is life, there is hope. Thank you so much, Lady Grace. Quickly tell, our viewers or anyone who find themselves in this situation, where can they go for help? Where can they go for their identity to be preserved? Where can they seek help? Because I know there are so many places out there. Over to you.
Thank you. So you can seek help with people called the IDVA. They are specialist professionals for domestic abuse, and we can find them in various boroughs in the UK. They serve as a voice for the victims. They help the victims feel safe. They represent the victims at multi-agency risk assessment conferences called MARAC. They also help the victims to navigate, yes, the criminal justice system and work with different agencies to provide wraparound support. But before they can do this, they need to build a rapport with the victim, that is, a trusting relationship with the victim. And that we have charities like Refuge, which can signpost you to refuge or safe accommodation all around the UK. Their phone line numbers, everybody get your pen and paper ready. Their phone line or telephone number is 0808 2000 247. That is also the number for the domestic violence helpline. Then we have a landline 0207 395 7700. I repeat, 0207 395 7700. And you can email them. The email address is Esther_Brown@refuge.co.uk. We have Women's Aid. Their email or helpline address is helpline@womensaid That is, email them at helpline@womensaid.org.uk. They can signpost you to a safe shelter or refuge. We have the National Domestic Abuse Helpline, which I said earlier on, which is 0808 2000 247. You can use the Domestic Abuse Directory to contact local services. We also have the Survivor's Handbook. There are specially trained domestic violence police officers called special constables. You can get through to them via the free support line 0808 1689, sorry, 0808 1684 111. That is 111. And we have the London Metropolitan Police landline for domestic abuse victims. It's 0207 601 290. I repeat, 0207 601 90. And the mobile number is 0777 02 913 203. And you can email a particular officer. Her name is Denise Green. And the email address is Denise, as in DENISE .green, GREENE, at victimsupport.org.uk. We also have the Samaritans. They operate 24/7. Their services are 24/7. You can dial 116 123. I repeat, 116 123.
Wow, that is more than enough. I was just about typing. Viewers, I am going to, because of our internet, we don't want to overstay, but there is a lot. You can go back and watch this show, share unto others. Lady Grace, I first of all just want to salute you, salute your tenacity, your confidence, and sometimes when we go through things, you just don't know how you're going to come out. For you making that determination to come out, you are able to be here at a time like this, the appointed time, and for many, many other times to come, to be able to speak. And today we are addressing, if you are a woman or a man, this is not a casting stone. And I believe even you, as if you're a perpetrator of violence, maybe you don't even know it, please, you can seek for help. You can seek for help. All is not lost. Lady Grace, I just want us to talk, because as a result of this, you yourself were able to come up with various things where you support people. This is your podcast. Tell us a little bit about your podcast, and how it works. Yes.
It's on the topical issue of abuse, and not just abuse, mental health as well. We talk about societal views, cultural nuances as regards abuse. Some cultures sweep abuse under the carpet. So I interview various guests. I also talk about boundaries, what is a healthy relationship, and what we can offer victims and signpost them. So in a nutshell, that's what I talk about in my podcasts. I've interviewed people from America, Canada, the UK, Nigeria. I'm still going to be going to Africa, because I know that Africa, we have a lot of abuse there, but it's been swept under the carpet. So I need to debunk the myth when it comes to abuse.
You are a woman on a mission for sure. Let's look at what else you do, what else you offer, and how people can reach you. The numbers are all down there. Lady Grace, talk about this quick.
Yes, we offer victims in such abusive relationships specialist crisis intervention and support for those at risk from further abuse, such as safety planning. What is safety planning? It's making sure that, after you get informed choices and you've made up your mind that you're leaving, you can take some few clothing, maybe for yourself and the children, and give it to a trusted friend to keep. Then make sure you have enough money. You have your oyster or your car keys. Make sure you take your medical records for both yourself and the children. School records, just to name a few, before you move. And there's advocacy and outreach, like legal advice on injunctions, interim court orders, counseling, and therapeutic interventions for people who go through, or for people who are suffering from mental health issues like insomnia, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, just to name a few. And people can reach us via our email address, support@freedomforbetterlife.com, risingaboutshadowsofabuse@gmail.com. Our social media handles, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Rising Above Shadows of Abuse. And a mobile number, 07950 803300.
And that's your beautiful book there that you have written, viewers. I'm going to encourage you to please support the work that Lady Grace is doing. 10 ways to abusive relationships. So somebody will not say, we did not hear. We will not have come and wasted our time here, but we believe that it's a time that's been worth wasting, even if that was the case. How can we get copies of your book?
A free download ebook. It's 10 ways to avoid abusive relationships. It's a free ebook. You can download it on my website, freedomforbetterlife.com, or freedomforbetterlife.com. So when you get on the web page, it will direct you to where you can download it for free, but you have to leave your name and possibly your email address so that we can send you periodic newsletters. And I have books on Amazon as well. I have books on Amazon as well.
You have so many goodies, you've not even spoken about it. I think we need a part 2.
Okay, that's okay. I'll come back for the part 2. Definitely.
Wow. Thank you. Just hold on there, viewers. So much has been said. Apologies for the break in transmission, but I think we have managed to get through. The enemy knows what we are going to talk about, so anyway. But these are the details. Feel free to contact Lady Grace, please, not me. I have brought someone. This is real life story. She has come and shared. It's not made up. So if anybody is going through this, please, you are not on your own. You need to seek help. You can contact her. Or if you are an overcomer, you've survived, and you are on this trail as well to encourage many to come out, you're more than welcome. Contact her to come on our podcast. You know what? Sharing is caring. Sharing delivers. Sharing heals. Sharing transforms the lives of many. So please do not hesitate to contact Lady Grace. You can find her on Facebook, get through her website, send her a message, a text message after tonight. Connect with her. We need to spread the word. No one should be suffering in silence. I'm appealing to us all. Please, let us do the needful. Thank you, Lady Jane Boone Kamara. She's a professional. I know that's one of the areas where she also touches on as well. um she's already inviting you. Can you come and share to her women? I will pass her contact to you. But she was saying, especially in Africa, when the women are dependent on the men. That's why, she was mentioning Sierra Leone. I come from Sierra Leone. She was talking about Sierra Leone and Ghana. This, we have to speak. She was just sharing her concern, why, how women will be coping in some of these situations. And she was mentioning cultures that take beating of a woman as nothing. It's like, why are you complaining? Your husband has right to beat you, and some of those things. So already you are having, I told you, just be ready because we have to spread the news. I don't know what's the last word you want to say to viewers. We don't want our internet to be disrupted again, but what's the last word you want to say to viewers for now? Because we will be coming back by God's grace.
So, the last words I have for everyone or anyone suffering abuse out there is that abuse is not your fault. Always seek help and support. Make sure you rediscover yourself and maximize your potentials. If I can do it with 4 children, so can you. Thank you.
Wow, if she can do it, and when I was talking to her, I know, your children are doing excellently well, those in university, those in sixth form, and so on. So this is an encouragement. If you are in that situation, any of those that's been mentioned today, please, 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 take a review of your life. Your life is precious. Faith wise, the Bible says your body is a temple of God and the Holy Spirit dwells in there. Your body is not for torture. Your emotions is not for manipulation. No, He's giving us the power to have control. You speak, Emma.
Yes. I
Yes.
said
I said
marriage should
marriage
be
should be
enjoyed, not
enjoyed, not
endured.
endured.
Endured, not endured at all. Not endured. Please, you see our topic today? Stop enduring abuse. Do not endure abuse. Stop enduring abuse. This is 2024. Stop enduring abuse. I want to say a very big thank you. If you have any more questions, I will send it to Lady Grace and I believe she will answer them and I will come and put them back on the chat. But for now, I want to say thank you very much to all who have joined this program tonight. Please like and follow Practical Talk with Floris Lyman, and I'm also on YouTube. And like and follow, and let's be a blessing to others. I really want to say thank you, Lady Grace, for your time and your sacrifice and for your testimony. We pray that you continue to touch lives. Thank you, all viewers. Thank you to all of you for your contributions. And God bless you and have a lovely week ahead. Thank you all. Bye for now.